Colonel dismissed black girl's request to shoot. She shocked everyone by breaking 5 SEAL records. Maya Johnson stood at the edge of the shooting range, heart pounding like a drum, the sun glaring down, as if the universe had made her its center. Colonel Thompson leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, his lips curling into a smirk. The echoes of veterans' tales surrounded her, tales that were drenched in blood, valor, and an unwritten fabric of belonging, something she desperately craved. Here she was, 15, a black girl in a small southern town, dreaming of becoming a Navy SEAL. The scent of fried chicken and sweet tea wafting through the air was no longer her primary focus. This was her moment. "Girls like you don't belong here, Maya," he scoffed, dismissing her like a cloud of smoke. Every word cut deep. But instead of crumbling, she felt a fire ignite within. Every doubt became fuel. They'd see. She was tired of history repeating itself, tired of being underestimated. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, shaking off the Colonel's derision like water off her back. This wasn't just about her dreams. This was about standing tall against a backdrop of prejudice that hadn't evolved as quickly as it should have. 2 years of preparation led to this moment, countless hours spent training late at night in her family's backyard under a canopy of stars. Her makeshift target, rusty, weathered, was a constant reminder of her focus and her father's proud smile each time he saw her practice. On weekends, she worked at her mother's diner, surrounded by the warmth of home, laughter ringing in the air like a familiar song. "You got this, honey," her mama would whisper, her hands steady as she served up a warm plate of biscuits. Those voices grounded Maya, filling her with resolve. But could they overcome the sting of harsh reality? Days morphed into anxious hours leading up to the tryouts. The closer she got, the more Colonel Thompson's snide remarks replayed in her mind. "It's not for you. Leave it to the men." She clenched her fists. Frustration bubbled up within her, but resilience poured over it like rain on parched earth. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The day of the trials dawned hot and sticky, tension in the air like a thunderstorm brewing. As she walked onto the range, her family cheered from the sidelines, voices pushing through the cloud of doubt hanging in her mind. The crowd's murmurs contrasted against her pounding heart. Would they finally believe? Maya steadied her breath. She was a tornado trapped inside a summer day, swirling with focus and strength. The first shot rang out. Bullseye. Gasps floated through the air. Was it surprise? Bewilderment? She wasn't stopping. Again and again, she hit the mark, each shot a declaration of her right to exist in spaces they deemed exclusive. 5 wildly impossible records shattered, and disbelief rippled across the field. Colonel Thompson's expression morphed, his lips parted slightly, an acknowledgement of her undeniable talent. Yet even as applause thundered, shadows loomed behind her victory. Could this one moment truly shift perceptions? Would she ever shake off the ghosts of doubt? As the cheers faded and the weight of expectation settled heavily on her shoulders, Maya found herself standing on a tightrope. Would the Colonel learn to see her worth in a world too often clouded by judgment? The echoes of her journey beckoned her forward, as she faced an uncertain, yet hopeful future. Maya stepped back from the line, still buzzing from the exhilaration of her performance. The cheers were like a warm blanket wrapped tightly around her shoulders, but the weight of uncertainty still tugged at her heart. Colonel Thompson was not one to back down easily. He'd seen what she could do, but would he truly accept it? As she walked towards her family, They enveloped her in a whirlwind of hugs and pride. "You did it, Maya! You showed them!" her brother shouted, his face lit with admiration. Her mother stood nearby, tears in her eyes, radiating joy that felt as real as the sun overhead. Yet, as the celebration simmered down, Maya's thoughts drifted back to the colonel, his doubting words lingering like a bitter taste. Winning was just a battle. The war was ahead. Days passed, each one awash in the glow of her accomplishment, but Maya found little comfort in it. The summer air grew heavy with humidity, but it was nothing compared to the discomfort swelling in her gut. She practiced every evening, pushing herself harder, aiming not just for precision, but to silence the voices that had questioned her worth. Then, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a man approached her during practice. His presence was imposing, framed against the fiery sky. It was Colonel Thompson, his demeanor transformed, his arms now at his sides. Was he here to issue another dismissal? "Maya," he said, his voice surprisingly soft. "Can we talk?" She blinked, taken aback. Was this an apology? Or yet another attempt to undermine her? "Sure," she replied, crossing her arms defensively. Inside, her heartbeat quickened. He motioned for her to follow him away from the others, the noise of the shooting range fading into the background. "You have a rare talent." The colonel paused, as if weighing his words. She waited, her heart racing with both anticipation and skepticism. "I didn't take you seriously at first, but you've exceeded every expectation. I respect that." "Respect?" Maya echoed, her tone laced with disbelief. "You think respect comes easily? You've been telling girls like me to stay in their lanes for so long." His brow furrowed, a flicker of guilt crossing his face. "You're right. But today, you've changed some minds. The Navy SEALs are looking to break barriers, and you might just fit that mold. I want to help you." Was this a trick? Would he genuinely advocate for her? Maya crossed her arms tighter, uncertainty swirling in her stomach. She had learned to be cautious, each bruise from the past a lesson in survival. "Why should I trust you?" "Because," he said, looking straight into her eyes, "it's time for change. You've shown what you can do. I can get you the right connections." Maya studied him, searching for honesty behind his stern features. Could she step into this world he was offering? A world that had previously felt closed off. For moments that felt like hours, they simply looked at each other. The weight of their past experiences hung between them, yet a fragile air of possibility began to form. Finally, she spoke. "If I accept your help, it means more than just shooting. It means standing against everything that people like you have believed. Can you handle that?" The colonel took a deep breath. "I can handle criticism. I can handle change." As he made that claim, Maya weighed the possibilities. Was this the moment she had been waiting for? A chance to break through the glass ceiling that had held so many back? But before she could respond, a commotion erupted nearby. Shouts echoed, drawing both of their attention. A figure stumbled towards the shooting range, a fellow competitor collapsing under the weight of his backpack. The reality of their intentions was about to be tested in an unexpected way. "Stay here, I'll check on him," Colonel Thompson ordered, rushing toward the scene. Maya's heart raced again, but this time, would she stay and trust him? Or would she take control of her own destiny? As doubts and hopes collided in her mind, she faced an undeniable truth. Change was hard, but necessary. What would her next move be? Maya stood frozen as Colonel Thompson dashed away, his figure swallowed by the crowd gathering around the fallen competitor. Panic surged within her. Was this all just a distraction? Was he still playing games with her emotions? But as she watched the other competitors crowding around the injured man, her hesitation melted away, replaced by a burning resolve. She would not be just an observer today. Moving quickly, Maya slipped through the crowd. She shoved aside lingering doubts, remembering every training session, every bruise and scar she carried. When she reached the front, she found a familiar face: Jake, the strong and cocky guy who had once belittled her skills. Now, he lay on the ground, clutching his arm and grimacing in pain. "I can't believe I let this happen," he gasped, struggling to catch his breath. "Just breathe, Jake," Maya said, kneeling beside him. "What did you carry? You look like you went to war." Her attempt at humor softened the intensity of the moment. She looked into his eyes. They were filled with confusion and fear. "Got too ambitious, I guess." "Overloaded," he replied, gritting his teeth. As the medics arrived, Colonel Thompson reappeared, a tinge of relief washing over his stern expression. "Maya, you step up when it matters," he said, briefly glancing at her as Jake was inhaled into the medic's care. "That's more than a lot of people here." His words wrapped around her like a protective shield. Maybe he hadn't been entirely off base. Maybe this was the sign she needed. "Stay back," a medic barked, waving a hand at the gathering crowd. But Maya couldn't move away. This was her moment, a chance not just for herself, but for all the girls like her who fought quietly against the tide. "Colonel," she shouted, catching his attention, "we could use another set of hands. I've seen injuries like this before. I learned first aid in my community center. Let me help." Thompson raised an eyebrow, surprise flickering against his usual stoic demeanor. "You think you can help?" "I know I can," she insisted, determination coursing through her veins. She approached Jake, now surrounded by a team of medics, and caught one's eye. "What can I do?" "Get us gauze and ice from the supplies. Fast." The medic's response was quick, and Maya jumped up, legs moving faster than her thoughts. Her mind raced as she sprinted toward the supply tent, grabbing everything she could. Each item felt like a small step on a bigger path. She could feel the adrenaline pouring through her, blurring the lines between fear and confidence. This was more than just a moment. It was about facing her fears while helping someone else. Maya dashed back, handing over the supplies, and nearly collapsing as the surge of movement wore off. As she assisted, she caught a glimpse of Colonel Thompson observing her, the weight of his previous doubts beginning to shift. Once the medic stabilized Jake's arm, the scene began to clear. Medical personnel reassured them he would be okay, which relieved the tightness that had built in Maya's chest. But before she could catch her breath, Thompson approached her. "You did good. Better than most," he admitted, an unexpected warmth seeping into his tone. "Thanks, but what now?" Maya asked, still breathing heavily. "Is this enough to prove I belong?" "You proved it the moment you stepped forward when others stepped back," he replied. "I believe it's time we discuss your future. You've got a unique drive I think the Navy SEALs can utilize." Maya felt a spark of excitement, but new challenges lay ahead. "And what does it take to get through?" "More than just talent. I've fought for this." "More than talent. It takes heart. And maybe a little chaos," he said, a faint smile cracking through. "Are you willing to embrace chaos?" With a newfound sense of purpose, Maya nodded. There was uncertainty ahead, but she was ready. As she looked toward the horizon, the weight of her choices settled in her chest. Could she handle the challenges that were destined to come? Change felt volatile, but the possibility of her dreams ignited a fire within her. Suddenly, her phone vibrated in her pocket. It was a text from her best friend. "You wouldn't believe what is coming next. Are you ready for the fight?" Maya glanced at Colonel Thompson, a silent understanding passing between them. It was only the beginning, and she was about to step into the storm. What awaited her next? Just how fierce would the fight become? Maya felt her heart racing as she scrolled through her phone, her friend's words echoing in her mind. The excitement, the uncertainty, it all tangled together inside her. A fight was coming, but she had no way of knowing what would unfold. She glanced back at Colonel Thompson, who was now deep in conversation with a baffled medic, his attention momentarily diverted. This was her chance. Taking a deep breath, Maya walked up to him, channeling every ounce of confidence she could muster. "Colonel," she interrupted gently, "I want to take a shot. I want to prove myself on the field." He turned to her, his expression shifting from surprise to something softer, a flicker of interest. "You think you're ready?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "I am ready," she asserted, her voice steadier than she felt. "Not just for myself, but for all the girls watching who think they can't." "What do you think being ready means?" he probed, leaning back slightly, contemplating her words. "It means stepping out of the shadows and joining the fight," she replied, the weight of that moment crashing over her with undeniable intensity. "I've trained hard, and I won't back down just because I'm the underdog. I'll put everything on the line." A silence hung between them, almost electric. Other competitors were starting to gather again, their murmurs creating a backdrop of restless anticipation. For once, Maya didn't care about the whispers. She wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for all the girls like her who felt unseen. Thompson studied her, and as a smirk tugged at the corners of his mouth, she felt a surge of hope. "All right, let us see where this chaos leads you. But you need to know, it's not just another day at the park. You'll face challenges that would make anyone second guess." "I wouldn't have it any other way," Maya said, an unexpected thrill coursing through her. "What's next?" "Follow me," he instructed, and Maya's pulse quickened as he began walking toward the obstacle course. They approached a series of daunting challenges designed for the highest level of physical endurance. Walls to climb, water to navigate. The daunting leap that sent a shiver down her spine. But there was an undeniable fire igniting within her. This was her arena. As they reached the starting line, a crowd had begun to form, eyes filled with skepticism and curiosity. Jake, with his injured arm now cradled against his chest, stood surprisingly near the front. His expression was more neutral this time, but Maya could sense the quickening of his breath, the challenge she represented. "Ready yourself," Thompson called out, and Maya nodded, locking her gaze ahead. This moment was about so much more than just proving herself to the colonel or the crowd. It was about breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and shattering expectations. As the whistle blew, she took off, her feet pounding against the ground in rhythmic harmony, fueled by adrenaline and a determination that surged like a wave. The water task loomed ahead, but she wouldn't back down. The cold would invigorate her. The challenge would define her. With every leap and every obstacle crossed, Maya sensed the energy shifting. From whispers of doubt to cheers of encouragement, she could feel the crowd as disbelief morphing into hesitant respect. Jake's eyes widened as she plowed through the course, and with each step, she felt more alive, more connected to the fight that had been simmering inside her. And then it happened. She crossed the finish line, breathless, but exhilarated. The chaotic energy of the moment rushed through her. But shockingly, as she turned around, she realized her time had broken not just one, but multiple records. The crowd erupted in disbelief, their gasps mingling with applause. Colonel Thompson stood with his arms crossed, expression unreadable, but pride shone through his eyes. Jake stepped forward, sheepishly but warmly. "I underestimated you, Maya." "I'm sorry." Her heart soared. "That was just the beginning," she replied, still catching her breath. As cheer erupted around her, a familiar chill ran down her spine. This fight, this journey, it was just starting to unfold. What challenges would she face now? Could she maintain this momentum, or would the tide of expectation crash back down on her? Maya felt the weight of something greater than herself shift on the horizon. Would she rise to meet it or falter under the pressure? The storm of possibilities loomed just ahead. Maya was still catching her breath when the cheers began to fade into a buzz of speculation. She stood among the remnants of the crowd, her heart pounding not just from exhaustion, but from the thrill of breaking records. It felt unreal, as if she was floating above the ground. And yet, beneath that exhilaration lay a deep, gnawing uncertainty. Jake approached her again, this time with an earnest expression that made her stomach flip. "I get it now. You're a real contender. I've never seen anyone take on that course like that." His respect was palpable, and she could see the shift in him, no longer the dismissive boy from earlier, but someone understanding the weight of what she had accomplished. "Thanks, Jake. I just wanted to show that we can do anything if we push ourselves," Maya replied, her voice a blend of excitement and determination. She didn't just want his approval. She wanted to inspire them all. But just as she felt ready to celebrate, Colonel Thompson stepped forward. "Good run, Maya," he said, his voice steady yet probing. "But now comes the hard part. I want you to train with the top athletes. They want to go easy on you. You ready for that?" "Absolutely," she said, feeling the fire rekindling inside her. "I'm ready to dive in deeper, to really prove I belong." He simply nodded, but the weight of his gaze felt different this time. There was challenge in it, as if he sensed she was not just breaking records, but also the mold. An unexpected smile broke across his hardened face, a glimpse of what looked like pride. As she turned to the others, energy crackled in the air. The murmurs had shifted, with some competitors openly discussing her victory, the underdog now a beacon. But with that surge of newfound support, she also felt the pressure multiplying. Everyone would be watching her now. Could she keep this up? Her training began the next day, and it was brutal. New faces greeted her each morning, seasoned athletes, who moved with such ease it was almost intimidating. While they seemed to glide over the obstacles, she struggled to keep up, gasping for breath and finding strength in the sweat that dripped from her brow. It was as if every leap was pushing her to the edge of her limits. One afternoon, mid-training, a girl watched from the sidelines, her eyes wide with admiration. Maya noticed her wearing a bright headband, the same color as her own jersey. It was a small connection, but it resonated. The girl's hopeful gaze sparked a realization this wasn't just about records. It was about representation. Every step Maya took was a step for every girl who thought she couldn't make it. "How do I look?" Maya asked, playfully flexing her muscles as she approached the girl. The girl's eyes lit up, and she smiled widely. "You look amazing." "I wish I could be as brave as you," she replied, her voice soft but filled with awe. "Bravery isn't being fearless. It's doing what scares you," Maya said, knowing this wasn't just a lesson for the girl but one for herself too. As the days turned into weeks, the pressure weighed heavier. She was pushing her limits, but each success was met with rising expectations. What was originally a spark of hope now felt like a looming shadow. The record she had shattered stood as both a triumph and a burden. One evening, as she lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling, doubts tangled with excitement. What if this was it? What if she couldn't live up to the heights she had reached? The next morning brought a realization. Each struggle, each doubt, would build her strength. But just as she felt ready to confront whatever lay ahead, a text from her friend arrived. "There are rumors about the next competition. You need to be ready. They're raising the stakes." Her heart raced again. What stakes? As excitement laced with fear coursed through her veins, Maya understood. This was only the beginning, and there were twists she couldn't yet anticipate. What would those new challenges hold? Would she rise, or would she risk it all to fight for her place? The next morning dawned with a heavy haze, the sun barely breaking through the gray clouds. Maya could feel the weight of the day ahead pressing against her chest. Competition rumors were buzzing around her like bees, and she would be lying if she said the thought didn't send her heart racing. Dressed in her training gear, she jogged down to the gym, each step echoing her determination. What did raising the stakes even mean? She hoped it didn't mean facing new fears she wasn't ready for. As she entered, the usual training group was already in motion. The older athletes were analyzing video from their previous runs, a strategy session filled with intense focus. Their murmurs hushed as she stepped inside, making her feel like she was wearing a spotlight. "Hey, Maya," called out a friendly voice. It was Lena, a sprinter who had recently started taking notice of Maya. "Want to join our analysis? We'd love your input on that last competition." Before she could reply, Colonel Thompson strode into the gym, commanding attention. His presence always raised a mix of respect and apprehension. "Listen up. There are new changes coming to the event. A new course has been designed for the next competition, and it's going to be tougher than anything you've faced yet." Maya held her breath, her stomach nodding. "Tougher? How much tougher?" "More obstacles, less time, and tougher qualifiers. But for those who rise to the challenge, I guarantee glory awaits," he announced, eyes sweeping over the crowd. Excitement surged within her, but it was tangled with fear. The stakes were truly being raised. That evening, Maya aimed for a personal best during training. With Lena and a few other girls egging her on, she felt bolstered. "You can do this," they shouted every time she stumbled. Each fallen hurdle pushed her deeper into her grit. As she leapt over the final obstacle, adrenaline coursed through her veins, igniting her spirit. "Did you see that?" Lena yelled, her face alight with joy. Maya grinned, breathing heavily, a sense of fulfillment washing over her. "I think I'm finally getting it." But as they wrapped up, an unsettling thought crept back. What if this fiery determination wasn't enough? Would her best efforts lead to anything significant? The next few days rolled into a blur of exhaustion. Every morning, Maya woke up aching but driven. The new course loomed over them like a shadow, and she couldn't help but mentally map it out, trying to visualize how to conquer it. But with every training session, she no longer just battled physical limits. She grappled with the fear of disappointing herself and everyone who began to believe in her. The atmosphere changed one afternoon during a debrief after training. Colonel Thompson gathered everyone, his expression serious. "As you all know, the time has come for a show of resilience and the essence of competition. For this next event, we will be live streaming it. Media attention will be immense." Whispers rippled through the group. The idea of being vulnerable, their struggles broadcasted to the world, made Maya's heart pound unevenly. As they began a group run to channel their nervousness, she stumbled, almost crashing to the ground. Jake caught her arm just in time. "Hey, you're tougher than this. Don't let those thoughts drag you down," he said, his eyes locked on hers with genuine concern. Feeling the weight of expectation mounting again, she nodded, determined to push beyond her limits. If this was going to be a test of character of everything she stood for, then she needed to rise. But as they finished the run, she couldn't shake the ominous feeling clawing at her. What if she failed in front of everyone? As she watched the sunset, the soft hues reflected her swirling emotions. But there was one thing she knew. She couldn't turn back now. The fear would only fuel her fire. Would she transform that fear into something powerful? Or would it consume her before she even got the chance to prove herself? The looming competition felt more real than ever, and in her heart, she felt both dread and determination colliding. With the upcoming challenge hanging overhead, Maya took a deep breath. She had to find a way to face whatever awaited her. What other lessons would this journey teach her? The morning of the competition arrived with an electric buzz, the air thick with anticipation. Maya stepped into the gym and felt the nervous energy crackle around her. Today was the day, the culmination of all her struggles, fears, and hard work. She glanced around, taking in the group of athletes, each one wearing their focus like armor. "Remember, it's just a course," Jake said, walking beside her. His casual demeanor contrasted sharply with her racing thoughts. "You've trained hard. You know this? Yeah, but it's not just any course, Maya replied, her stomach twisting. It's the new one. And everyone will be watching, judging. Jake stopped and turned to her, his expression serious. They're here for you. Just do your best, and don't second-guess yourself. When you get out there, focus on the run, not the crowd. Maya nodded, but doubt lingered at the edges of her mind. Could she really handle this kind of pressure? Was she strong enough to rise above the overwhelming fear of failure? When they arrived at the venue, her breath hitched as she took in this spectacle. Bright lights, cameras, and an expectant crowd buzzed with energy. She could feel a knot tightening in her throat. Every fiber of her being told her to retreat, to hide. But every cheer, every shout for encouragement from her teammates grounded her as she stepped into the starting position. Colonel Thompson's voice came through over the loudspeakers, commanding attention. Welcome, everyone. Today, we will witness strength, resilience, and exceptional talent. Let us show them what we're made of. Maya swallowed hard, her heart thudding in rhythm with the clamor. She peered down the course, her mind racing through the obstacles, the turns, the timing, everything that could possibly go wrong. With a deep breath, she forced her racing heart to calm. The starting signal blared. Maya sprinted forward with everything she had. The first hurdle approached. She leaped, clearing it with a fluid grace that surprised even her. The cheers from the sides spurred her onward. Each obstacle came at her like a challenge, some she faced with confidence, and others that made her heart race, her breath quicken, her muscles strain. She could hear the shouts of her teammates, particularly Lena, who urged her onward. You've got this, Maya. Just keep moving. With each hurdle conquered, a rush of exhilaration replaced her fears. But then, disaster struck. One of the final hurdles loomed closer than she anticipated. She miscalculated her jump. The world went slow as she fumbled, and for a brief moment, she felt herself losing control. But instead of panicking, something clicked within her, an urge to push beyond her limits. With a wild determination, she leapt, managing to land awkwardly but upright, her resolve ignited. As she charged toward the finish line, a rush of adrenaline washed over her. She crossed it in a daze, pulling in deep, ragged breaths. The crowd erupted into a roar. She turned, hands on knees, lungs burning. Her heart was about to explode, but for the first time, she felt a sense of triumph surge through her. Did you see that? Jake shouted, running toward her. You almost fell, but you didn't. That was amazing. Maya smiled, disbelief mingling with joy. She had survived. She had pushed through the chaos and doubts. But then, her heart dropped. Would it be enough? In that moment, the score popped up on the big screen. Maya's eyes widened. It was a new personal best, one that could potentially break records. Whispers of amazement filled the air around her. Colonel Thompson stepped forward, his expression a mix of pride and surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new record to celebrate. Maya's heart soared, but just as quickly, the weight of reality settled back on her shoulders. What did this mean? Was it enough to silence the fears that crept in when the lights dimmed? As she processed the jubilation and uncertainty, a thought suddenly pierced through. This was just the beginning. How would she hold onto this momentum? Could she conquer the next hurdles that would surely come? The journey was far from over, and a new, daunting challenge lay ahead. What was she capable of, really? As she stood there, surrounded by cheers and a wave of pride, she knew she was ready to find out. The crowd's cheers enveloped Maya, but the moment of triumph was both exhilarating and overwhelming. She felt the adrenaline rushing through her like wildfire, turning her excitement into a heady haze. But soon after, reality struck like a cold shower. Winning was one thing, but what did it truly mean for her future, her place in this group, and her own expectations? Hey, Maya! Lena's voice sliced through the cloud of doubt. She rushed over, her eyes sparkling with pride. That was unbelievable. You killed it out there. I never doubted you for a second. Thanks, Lena, Maya said, trying to catch her breath. A tiny smile peeked through the worry, but doubt still flickered in her mind. Jake appeared next, throwing an arm around her shoulder, nearly knocking her sideways. I've got to get this on camera. You breaking records and all. This is going straight to my Instagram. Maya chuckled, but it didn't last. The enormity of her performance seeped in, mingling with a weight of expectation. Hey, so what's next? Jake brought her back to the present, his voice light and buoyant. But the question hung heavy in the air. I don't know, Maya admitted, her fingers fidgeting with her uniform. I mean, I feel good about today, but what if I can't do it again? You will, Jake reassured her, his voice firm. Just keep the fire. You showed everyone what you're made of. Now it's time to keep pushing. Maya nodded. She was overwhelmed, but Jake was right. Maybe this was more than just a win. Perhaps it was a sign that she could go further than she ever thought possible. Before she could delve deeper into those thoughts, Colonel Thompson approached, a proud smile gracing his face. Maya, fantastic job out there. Breaking records isn't easy, and you did it with such skill. I want to set up some training sessions to build on this momentum. Maya's heart skipped. Really? You think I'm ready for more? Absolutely. If anyone can do it, it's you. Let us push for the next level. Maya felt a swell of pride. The colonel didn't just see her as a competitor, he saw potential. But that flicker of doubt crept back in. Thanks, she said, but the uncertainty loomed large in her mind. Could she really keep up with the expectations? As they began to walk back, she caught sight of a few other competitors whispering and pointing in her direction. It felt strange, being the center of attention in both admiration and scrutiny. Just ignore them, Lena snapped, her expression darkening. They're just jealous. Maya frowned slightly, but couldn't shake the feeling. What if she didn't live up to the standards people were beginning to set for her? What if this was a one-time victory? Come on, let us celebrate, Jake said, as he encouraged the group to head toward the refreshment area. But as they walked, Maya lagged behind, staring at the bright banner hanging above that red Future Champions. Was she one? Or was she just a fleeting moment in a much bigger story? As everyone cheered and clapped around her, doubt clashed with hope in her heart. She felt torn between the thrill of winning and the fear of what would come next. When they finally reached the snack table, the laughter and chatter energized her, but the question lingered. What would her next challenge look like? And was she truly ready to face it? But before she could voice her worries, an unexpected shout cut through the air. Maya, you've got to check this out, Lena yelled, her face lighting up like a kid on Christmas. Rushing over, Maya felt her heart race again, wondering what it could be. As she approached, the energy shifted. A video played on someone's phone showing her leap over that final hurdle, her epic save, captured in perfect clarity. The comments below filled the screen, each more encouraging than the last, praising her skills, resilience, and the heart she displayed. Maya felt her heart swell, but the unsettling thought still lingered at the back of her mind. Could she sustain this? Could she truly become the champion everyone believed her to be? And then, just as the joy bubbled over, the screen flashed a bold comment. Wait until she meets the real competition. Maya stared, a knot forming in her stomach. What did that mean for her future? She looked at Lena and Jake, her heart pounding, and realized the battle ahead wouldn't just be on the course. What if the hardest challenge was still yet to come? The laughter around the refreshment table felt distant now, like echoes in a vast canyon. Maya stared at the screen, the words pulsing in her mind. Wait until she meets the real competition. It was a facetious remark, but for her, It felt like a storm warning. "Hey, are you okay?" Lena asked, placing a hand on Maya's shoulder. The concern in her friend's voice cut through the haze. Maya forced a smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Yeah, just thinking. Thinking about how you're going to crush them next time," Jake said, his grin wide and infectious. Maya nodded, though doubt stormed inside her. She had taken one leap, a monumental one, but could she leap again? The admiration was intoxicating, but so was the fear of failure. "Let us get some food," Lena cheered, breaking Maya's reverie. "You've earned it." Stepping over to the table, the vibrant colors of fruit and pastries seemed to blur together. She picked at a cupcake, the sweet taste a distraction from the nagging thoughts. What if they were right? She thought. What if this was just luck? What happens when I can't replicate this? "Order up," Jake joked as he piled plates high with snacks. "For my champion friend." Maya chuckled, but her heart wasn't in it. Between bites, she stole glances at the others. Some smiled. Others fumed over the competition. The weight of their expectations bore down on her like heavy clouds. Suddenly, the sound of laughter erupted nearby. A group of competitors gathered around a phone, and one voice rose above the rest, a mix of amusement and derision. She might have won today, but wait until the regionals. She won to make a splash there. The taunt felt sharper than any victory cheer. Maya's stomach twisted, the warmth of her recent success replaced by cold dread. Had her moment of glory already begun to wilt? "Who cares what they think?" Lena said, trying to lift her spirits again. "They're just afraid. They don't have what you have." But Maya's mind was racing. What if she didn't? The group's jubilation faded as talk turned to the upcoming regional competition, high stakes, tougher opponents, and the blaze of nerves that accompanied it all. The anticipation filled the air, leaving Maya gasping for clarity. How could she keep this adrenaline and joy burning when the bar was raised so much higher? "Listen up." Colonel Thompson's voice broke through the chatter, as he approached with his trademark seriousness. "I've been closely watching your performance, Maya. How would you like to be part of an elite training camp? It's selective, and we only want the best." Maya's heart raced again, but doubt clawed its way back. What if I'm not one of the best? She thought. "I'd be honored, sir," she said, forcing resolve into her voice. "Now, I know expectations are high, but I see something special in you." His words both inspired and terrified her. A part of her longed to believe it. Another part shouted imposter. As they fell into discussion about schedules and training regimens, the murmurs of the crowd turned back to her. She caught a few glares, but this time mixed with eager glances. Maybe some wanted to befriend the new queen. Maybe others itched to take her down. Maya felt a surge of determination, but the weight of doubt lingered. She couldn't ignore the clear message. Success was not a singular event. It was an ongoing marathon, and she was only at the beginning of a long race. Suddenly, a thought struck her like a lightning bolt. What if preparation was more than physical? What if she also needed to train herself mentally? To chase after belief instead of fear? "Let them doubt," she whispered to herself, as the group started to disperse. "I'll show them." Eyes set forward, she felt a flicker of hope ignite. But hope hung by a fragile thread, one that could unravel faster than she realized. As they gathered their things, Maya noticed a familiar figure standing alone at the edge of the crowd. It was Clara, a seasoned athlete known for her fierce competitiveness. She had a reputation, and right now, her gaze was locked onto Maya, challenging, intense. What was coming next? The real games were just beginning. The day of the regional competition arrived, and Maya's nerves fluttered like a million butterflies in her stomach. She stood backstage, pacing, surrounded by the smell of sweat and ambition. Today was the day to prove everyone wrong, to show them she belonged here. She ran her fingers over her jersey, mentally repeating her mantra. You've trained for this. You've earned your place. As the announcer's voice boomed through the loudspeakers, she swallowed hard. The cheers of the audience felt like waves crashing against a shore, powerful, yet intimidating. Maya blinked, taking a moment to breathe deep. The words of Colonel Thompson echoed in her mind. Every obstacle is a chance to rise. When it was her turn, Maya stepped onto the course, the crowd buzzing with anticipation. She glanced at Clara, who stood with her arms crossed, eyes fierce and unapologetic. The challenge ahead wasn't just the course. It was the battle against her inner doubts, against those who thought she would crumble. The whistle blew. Maya sprinted forward, her heart pounding like a drum. She weaved through the first set of hurdles, her body moving with confidence. The cheers from her friends resonated in her ears, pushing her onward. You go, Maya. Show them what you're made of. Every leap felt like a declaration of defiance. She saw the barriers not just as physical obstacles, but as symbols of everything she had fought against: the narrow minds, the stereotypes, the disbelief. Each hurdle cleared was a victory over every past doubt. Then came the water obstacle, and it loomed ahead like a monstrous wave. Maya felt a flicker of fear, but she quelled it. With a surge of determination, she launched herself over the edge and landed gracefully on the other side, as if she were flying. As she broke free of the water, she turned to glance back at Clara, who looked startled. That fiery challenge lit a spark in Maya. She wasn't just racing. She was rewriting the script. The finish line was in sight, and everything else faded away: the shouts, the crowd, the pressure. All that existed was the rhythm of her heartbeat, the fleeting moment that demanded her all. She charged forward. Every ounce of pain in her muscles transformed into exhilarating energy as she flew past the final hurdle. And then she crossed the line. The cheers erupted in a chorus around her, but instead of being caught in the noise, it felt like she was standing in the eye of a storm, calm, centered, alive. Breathless, she grasped her knees, trying to catch her breath. Her heart pounded, not just from exhaustion, but from triumph, and then it happened. The screen lit up with her time, a new regional record. Maya's heart soared, but a different emotion bubbled beneath the surface. She remembered the whispers cast by Clara and others, the skepticism. Would they still believe her now? In that moment, Clara stepped forward, the intensity of her gaze softening. All right, Maya. You've earned respect. You were incredible out there. I'll admit it. Every nerve in Maya's body tingled. This was the acceptance she'd longed for. It was a huge leap, transitioning from conflict to camaraderie. Thanks, Clara. I appreciate that. We're all in this together, right? Colonel Thompson emerged from the crowd, a proud smile lighting up his face. You did it, Maya. This will open doors. Her family rushed up, beaming. The warmth of their pride enveloped her, a victory shared, not just for her, but for every dreamer out there. You've shown them, Maya, her mother cried, gathering her in a tight embrace. As they celebrated, Maya felt her heart rejuvenate with purpose. This was bigger than speed, than records. It was a chance to inspire those who needed hope, those who dared to dream. But one final thought echoed in her mind. This moment was only another beginning. The real accomplishment was not just winning. It was the journey of persevering through self-doubt and shifting perceptions. As a weight lifted from her chest, she looked at the crowd. This is for every girl dreaming of breaking the mold, she declared. The crowd erupted, and she promised herself she wouldn't just run the race. She would help others find their strength, too. Maya stood, heart full, renewed. She would continue to fight, to push, to inspire. And she knew it wasn't just about records. It was about the change that she could foster for the generations to come. Now was the moment. The future awaited. You need to subscribe now to catch every new adventure. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey with at least 5 friends who need this inspiration. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm, and comment below with your thoughts and feelings about Maya's powerful transformation. Your engagement means the world to us and keeps the stories flowing.